It's a beautiful day here on the Medina Square. I'm Matt with Medina Minute. Today we're going to go into the Visitors Bureau and sit and talk with a few friends from in and around Medina and hear what's going on around town. Please come in and join me. Well, good morning, everybody. Today we're here with Tim Obert from High Voltage Karting to talk about some of his connections to the community and tell us exactly what is High Voltage Karting. Tim, thank you so much for coming out
No problem.
today.
Thanks for the invitation and having me out today.
Sure. So let's first jump right into what is High Voltage Karting?
High Voltage Karting is a go-karting experience with high-performance karts. So it's not your run-of-the-mill go-karts where you know after putt-putt normally you go and drive some go-karts and you beat and bang and just floor it and go. We are high-performance go-karts. So
when I grew up, after putt-putt, we went to Hardee's.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's a little bit of drive from here,
Yeah,
you know, but
karting seems like more fun than a hamburger.
It is. You know, it's high-performance karts. The karts can reach speeds up to 50 miles an hour. You're not going to do it. Yep. You're not going to get quite that much on our track just because of the straightaways and the turns and so forth, but it's still a heart racing experience.
It sounds like it. I didn't realize they went that fast.
Right. All of our drivers wear helmets and neck collars for safety protection, and plus at that speed, I know for myself, my eyes, if I have the visor open on the helmet, tend to get dried out just because of the air, the air coming through.
So you're driving like
exactly. It's hard. You kind of want to see when you're driving go-karts.
It's probably a good idea. Yeah.
So, but we do events, corporate events, birthday parties, bachelor parties. So it's kind of like high voltage karting and events. Really is what it could be termed. But it's just a fun time, an opportunity for people.
Where is this located?
We are in the Foundry Building, so we are just west of the square. The Foundry originally was 1800s, and then through the years had many additions put onto the building. Yeah. So it's about, the total complex I think is about 130, 150,000 square feet.
Wow.
And it was originally, I believe, George Halloware, or they made pots and pans. Okay. So literally foundry for pots and pans.
Very cool.
That moved into Henry Furnace Company, and then Montclair Furnace Company, I believe, through the 80s. And then the building itself was different areas and many different businesses in there. And then sat vacant, I think, for about 8 years before Steve and Greg bought it and put in High Voltage. So the history of the building, and you can see it too in the rafters and the ambiance of the building, is just spectacular.
It's a cool space.
So it's really cool, and we're hoping in future projects to be able to show more of those spaces within the building. Okay. So those are just future plans that we're trying to work on and get together soon.
So how much of the building is High Voltage Karting?
Probably, I would say maybe a quarter to a third of the building.
A lot of space.
So there's a lot of space sitting back there right now.
When people are going around the track at 50 miles an hour, blinking to keep their eyes wet, how long is the track? Like, is it 30 seconds around?
Well, we've got kind of two tracks, if you want to say. We have our outdoor extension that's available in the summertime or warm weather that basically doubles the length of the track. So we've got two big bay doors. You go outside, do that portion of the track, and then rejoin the inside track. You go from, say, an average 25-second lap time to 40-second lap time. Okay. So like this time of year, or wintertime or off-season, it's a 25-second lap time, and then you double that. It's still same race length, same price and everything for the outdoor extension. It's just instead of getting 16 laps in your race, you're getting 8 laps. Okay.
So were you that kid that was always like on the mini bikes and the go-karts and ramming around on motorized stuff?
Go-karts, yes. Yeah. Yeah. It was funny. Probably about a year ago, my mom gave me a box of my junk. Yeah. And paging through that book, there's a book of when I grow up, and it was just about every single answer was related to a go-kart. When I grow up, I want to race go-karts. If I was president, I would put go-karts in every state, or go-kart. If I wish at the end of the street was a go-kart track.
Really?
So it was pretty funny to look at that now, many years later.
Like, did you know this is where your life was gonna go?
No.
What were you doing before?
I wanted to somehow get into something with racing.
Yeah.
And motorsports. And when I got out of college, I did that, and then what kind of moved out of that for a number of reasons. But then this opportunity came up, and I thought it was a good way to kind of get back into racing, so a little bit.
Yeah.
And plus, it was local, and I love it, and
it's go-karts,
and it's good people to be involved with too.
Are you from Medina?
No.
How did you end up here?
We were living. My wife and I were living in Michigan, and we had an opportunity. Well, we
I'm
did.
From
It was.
Michigan.
It was an, okay. It was a very. We loved Michigan.
Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
Not the school, but the state.
Okay, fair enough.
And we were living in Michigan and had an opportunity to move to Indianapolis for a job. And at the time, who's our now daughter, was on the way.
Yeah.
And we both grew up in the Cleveland area with family nearby, uncles, aunts, grandparents. And we decided that if we're going to move, let's move closer to home versus further to home.
Smart. Yeah.
So we just started looking at different areas, Cuyahoga Falls, Medina, and at the time, the job that I was coming here for was Penske Truck Leasing. So we had branches in Oakwood, Brook Park, Akron, and Medina was probably one of the easiest. As many people in Medina know, you can get to Cleveland or East Side, West Side, Akron very easily. Yeah. So we looked at Medina, and we looked at some house in Cuyahoga Falls, looked at Medina, and then just fell in love with Medina.
Cuyahoga Falls is nice, but it's not Medina.
True.
You made the right choice.
So that was Christmas time of 2000.
Okay.
So this will be, just 18 years here.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we came into town, we gave the realtor a list of things we want, and we came in, looked at 23 houses in one day.
Holy cat. Like, literally, did you do, like, run in, do a lap, and leave?
There was, there's maybe 5 houses in one development that we'd look at. And we'd just go in and, the first house that we looked at, we liked.
Yeah.
So everything was based on that. So it was easy, yes or no. And then we got to the development that we're in now, and that first house got eliminated. And it was a new build or where we're at. And the new build, you've got grass to put in and landscaping and all that pain stuff.
Yeah.
And then we said, you know what? We made an offer on where we're at, and 18 years later, here we are.
That's fantastic. So what is it that you, as a resident, what is it that you love about this community and the square in the city?
The square, I love because of the square.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the, you hate to say the stereotypical small town square, but it is.
It is.
You have a lot of towns that may have a main street where there's a street. Mm-hmm. And my wife grew up in Aurora, and I graduated from Aurora. And there's a lot. It's historic there, but it's not. They have a gazebo, but there's no businesses around it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And what I love too is that everything around the square is pretty much local owned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Husband and wife businesses, and we love that.
Yeah.
To be able to go out to eat and know that we're supporting local in the community. Is great for us to be able to do.
Sure. So when you have guests in from out of town, what's kind of your we got to eat here, we got to take you here, you got to see this. What's your hit list of Medina?
I hate to single places out and not other places, but if we're going on a date night or taking people out, we're usually at PJ Marley's.
Okay. Do you have a favorite burger?
The Longmire.
Is that the one with apple on it?
No, it's like the barbecue sauce with bacon, and I also want it on a pretzel bun.
Okay, yes.
Pretzel bun's a requirement.
Third or half?
Third.
Medium rare?
No, medium well.
Medium well. Okay.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm no.
You're gonna cook the meat.
I want it cooked.
I don't want it to move.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So when you guys are planning family vacations, is it centered around health and fitness, which I believe is what your wife is still involved in, or is it around where's go-karts in the country? Or are you guys going to set that aside and...
Most of our vacations are pretty much Disney related.
Really?
So basically every 2 years, we're at Disney World.
What do you love about Disney so much?
Disney, well, growing up, my wife went to Disney with her family every year.
Really?
And they drove down, did the whole trip, and that was, since she was little.
Yeah.
There's no way I'll drive down there.
It's a long drive.
I almost compromised when the band went the last spring.
Yeah.
I was like, if we want to drive, I'll consider it, but we're stopping in Charlotte to visit race shops on the way down and on the way back.
Fair
which
enough.
got vetoed, so we flew.
Okay, I get it.
But it's just something, and it's something where my oldest, Disney is to her as Indianapolis Motor Speedway is to me.
Really? Okay.
So it's
That's
kind of an
cool.
emotional experience to be there.
Yeah.
And then my youngest, is the same thing. Just loves being there, and it's just a fun family, and it's.
Do they have a certain part of the park that they love? Like, I haven't been there. I'm almost embarrassed to say this. 30 years, senior trip and band, we went to Disney.
Right.
And it was totally different. It was, I think Epcot had just opened a few years more or earlier. And now, I mean, there's like a Star Wars park, I think, and there's something else.
Yeah, Star Wars, I think, is opening up.
It's not just Mickey anymore, right?
Star Wars is opening up like in the big parks this summer. It's like Star Wars Land.
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom is kind of the main focus, because of the Main Street effect and then the different areas around it. Animal Kingdom. We'll go to, but just like a half a day. MGM or Hollywood Studios, I guess as it is now, is cool. The last time when we were there in the spring in the band, it was very limited because they're building Pixar Land.
That would be cool.
So that would be cool. That's kind of probably on next visit down there.
All right. That might go there for that.
Epcot is nice. Epcot was especially nice this year with the band because the kids could go do stuff with their friends, and
cool.
as the parents, we could do our own thing around Epcot. Where they do serve adult beverages. Sure. So our neighbor Sue and us partook in pretty much around the world, as you want to call it.
Sake, a few margaritas.
Exactly.
I don't even know what else the other
and not in that order either. So start in Canada and work our way around the world. So it was a good time.
Drinking around the world. I think I could get into that too. Where do you see the future of karting in Medina? Like, where do you guys want to see this go?
We just want to keep going. Yeah. Keep on adding additions to the track if there's the opportunity. Build on the building. Continue to make High Voltage the brand of indoor go-karting for Northeast Ohio. And continue to stay involved in the community. That's one of Greg, one of our owners, is his kind of life goals or his mantra, if you want to say it, is just making a difference in the community. So we're trying to move in some of those directions in the last year or two, especially.
Okay, so when you're at Disney and you're on some of the roller coasters and stuff, do you come back and say, Greg, what if we had like a tunnel underwater? Or could we do an inverted cart if they're really strapped in? Do you bring back the Disney experience?
We do talk about some of those things among Steve and Mark, our managers, and I. That will be, and and it's not even so much going to Disney and coming back with ideas. It's just wake up in the middle of the night with this. I had this idea that the track was actually water and it was bumper boats.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Those sort of things that you in your sleep are somehow dreaming about things to do with the track and work, which I guess when you're thinking about that stuff in a good way, it's not work. It's just a fun opportunity.
That's your passion.
It is, and that's and when I first interviewed with Steve and Greg, and they're like, well, why racing? And I'm like, it's just I eat, sleep, and drink racing.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool. Thank you so much for coming out today.
No problem. Thanks for having me. It's great to talk to you.
Learn more about it, and we'll see where it goes.
We'll be here.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.